Hey mamas, it's your girl Carrie, and welcome back to another episode of Mom Wife Career Life. Today is a very special episode because we're officially celebrating 3 years of this podcast. And although this is a one-woman show and I do all the things from drafting to recording to editing myself, I say we because I really hope you're going to celebrate along with me, cheering a fellow mom on that is following her dream. 3 years. And when I think about that, it's kind of funny because I don't go to the numbers. I don't think about the downloads or the episode counts. I think about you. I think about the messages you've sent me, the conversations we've had, the moms I've coached, the stories that you've trusted me with, women who are trying so hard to do a great job at work while also being the mom you want to be when you get home, women who love their families so deeply, but also feel that pull for more growth, more purpose, more intention in their life. And after 3 years of talking with a lot of working moms, there are a few things that I wish I could say to every single one of you if we were sitting across from each other. So that's what we're doing today. We're pretending we're sitting across from each other, that we're besties out to brunch or whatever meal you're feeling. So pretend to grab your cappuccino or a mimosa and let's jump into today's episode. Are you feeling overwhelmed trying to juggle all the many hats you wear as a working mom? Do you want more quality time with your family without distraction of work, time alone to take care of yourself and your needs? Welcome to Mom Wife Career Life. I'm Carrie, a wife, a mom of three, and a recovering perfectionist. In this podcast, I will teach you how to create balance in your life by implementing healthy habits, organizing your home and your schedule, being so intentional with your time and in your relationships, and most importantly, how to start putting your needs first because no one can pour from an empty cup. Grab that second cup of coffee, or if you're anything like me, your third. It's time to dive into today's episode of Mom Wife Career Life. After 3 years of having conversations with a lot of moms over and over again, there are a few things that I find myself wanting to say to every single one of you. Like if we were sitting across from each other right now, these are the things that I'd really want you to hear. So we're going to pretend we are, that I'm sitting right across from you, not through a microphone, not through your car speakers, not while you're unloading the dishwasher or driving to soccer practice, but really sitting across from you. Maybe a coffee in hand at your favorite coffee spot, or maybe it's ladies' night and you have your favorite cocktail in your hand. Mine actually lately has been an espresso martini. I had way too many of those the other night at a work event and I totally regretted it the next day, but they're delicious. But wherever you're pretending we are, there are no kids, there's no rushing, there's no distractions. And this is the first thing I would want to say to you. You're not behind. And this might be the biggest thing I've learned from working moms. So many of you feel behind, and I was there too, behind in your careers, behind in your finances, behind in your motherhood, behind in life. But here's what I see from the outside. You're not behind, you're just in a season where you're raising your kids while you're building a career, or maybe it's not even the career you're after. Maybe you're just trying to maintain status quo at your job, take home that paycheck, and still be the mom, the wife, the daughter, the sister, the friend that you really want to be. Either way, and let's be honest, that's not one full-time job. That's two full-time jobs layered in on top of all the emotional labor that no one talks about. Of course, it's going to feel hard. Of course, it feels messy. You are doing something incredibly demanding, and you're still showing up every day. And you're so much further along than you think. The second thing I would say to you is you don't have to do it all. And this is something I see over and over again with working moms. You carry everything, the schedule, the planning, the remembering everything, the birthday gifts, the permission slips, the dentist appointments, the sports signups, the laundry, the food shopping, and meal prepping. Because somewhere along the way, we absorb this belief that if I don't do it, it's not going to get done right. And I'm speaking to myself here with this one too, because I've been guilty of this, but doing everything is not a strength and it's absolutely not sustainable. Your home does not need one exhausted woman carrying around the entire mental load of the family. It needs a shared ownership. And delegating tasks, it does not make you lazy. It makes your life livable. And when you don't get help and you try to do it all yourself, you're going to end up burnt out and you might even start resenting your family and your partner. I'm telling you right now, your ambition, it's not selfish. And it's so important because I hear this guilt from moms all the time. And I was there, so I know exactly what you're feeling. But the feeling of, I feel bad that I want more. I want more impact, more income, more growth, more intellectual stimulation outside of your kids. Before I started this podcast, I was in that exact same space. When you first become a mom, motherhood can be all consuming. Your babies, they need you for everything. And if you have more than one, it's years of constantly being needed. And don't get me wrong, I absolutely love that season. I miss that season. But then something shifts. Your kids, they get a little older, they get more dependent, they don't need you in the same way anymore. And somewhere along the way, it's easy to realize that you kind of lost yourself. So much changed, and you start longing for something more than just motherhood. And for me, it's like it created this void. And I feel like I almost felt confused by it. Like, how can I feel this way when I have so much to be grateful for? I had a beautiful family, so many blessings, and yet something still felt like it was missing. And that was really hard to sit with. But here's what I really want you to hear. Wanting more does not make you a bad person. It does not make you a bad wife, and it does not make you a bad mom. Your ambition does not compete with motherhood. It expands it. It models it. Your kids are watching how you show up in the world. They see your work ethic. They see your creativity. They see your drive. And one day, they're going to carry those lessons into their own lives. Ambition and motherhood can coexist beautifully. I'm living proof. My kids see it every week when I'm recording my podcast. They celebrate with me on all my milestones. And this week's an extra celebration because it's Mother's Day, which happy Mother's Day for those in the US. I know it's different around the world, but happy Mother's Day and happy 3 years to me, celebrating a lot this week. The fourth thing I want to say to you, systems are freedom. And this is something that I've become so passionate about teaching because the moms I talk to, they often feel like life is complete chaos. They feel like they're constantly reacting, constantly putting out fires, constantly trying to keep up. But here's what I see time and time again. When you create those simple systems, when you plan your week, when you plan your meals, when you share your calendars with your family, when you automate your savings, when you create these routines and these rhythms in your home, something great happens. You end up creating mental space. And that mental space, it's what leads to your peace because you're not constantly redeciding or rethinking or redoing the same thing over and over again. And structure, it's not rigidity. Structure gives your brain a mental relief. Weekly planning, you know by now, it's one of my non-negotiables. If I don't sit down and plan my week, plan our meals, know who's going where, what our evenings look like, where I need help, and where I can carve out time for myself, I know that I'm not setting myself up for a smooth week. I am setting myself up for a absolutely stressful one because then I'm constantly reaction. And that's exactly what happened this past week. Russ and I took an amazing trip to Las Vegas, and then I didn't have time to do my weekly planning, and I actually had to go into the city for 2 days a week for work, which usually never happens. So this week felt absolutely just chaotic. I didn't feel like I was in control. I didn't know what we were eating any days, even though Russ was on top of food 2 nights, which he did order for one, because sometimes you just need to order out, moms, and that's okay. But not setting myself up this week made a stressful week even more stressful because I spent the week constantly reacting to things, trying to figure things out on the fly, trying to hold everything in my head. And that's where overwhelm comes from. But when you take that time up front, everything just feels lighter, especially this time of year with the end of school coming, with all the extra events and activities and things popping up left and right, the invites, the evites, they're coming from every direction right now. And my mental peace cannot afford not to plan. And the best part, it's not just for you, it's for your entire family. When systems are in place, your home just starts to run with a lot more ease. It's easier to keep things maintained when your kids know where things go. Mornings feel so much smoother when your kids know the steps they need to take to get out of the house instead of you having to remind them of every little thing. After school gets easier when there's a rhythm, when they know what's expected and what comes next. There's less arguing, there's less decision fatigue, there's less chaos, and just a lot more peace. The fifth thing that I would want to say to you is your marriage needs tending to, and I can't stress this one enough. I see this way too much. Working motherhood, it's like a pressure cooker. You're managing work, you're managing your kids, all the schedules, all the logistics, and before you know it, your marriage can quietly shift from being a partnership to co-managers of a household. And sometimes you don't even feel like you're co-managing. Sometimes you feel like you're doing the majority of the work. You still love each other, but the connection, it ends up getting buried under responsibilities. And this can happen so easily and so gradually that you don't even realize it's happening until you step back one day and you're like, we haven't gone on a date night in months. But the best marriages that I see are the ones where the couples really try to stay intentional. They talk, they check in with each other, they say thank you, something that's so simple. They make time for each other even when life just feels crazy busy because your marriage deserves that attention before things feel broken. Now, I know not everyone has the ability to take big trips or take time away from your kids, but even if you could just get a night away or a simple weekend, it can make such a difference. And it doesn't have to be expensive. It's about having that uninterrupted time to reconnect without responsibilities and without the distraction of your kids and just everything life throws at you. And something that's made a really big difference for us, was really learning each other's love languages. And if you don't know what both of yours are yet, take time to figure that out because how you receive love really matters. For me, my love language I've shared before is acts of service. So when Russ takes something off my plate, that means so much more to me than a gift does. And don't get me wrong, I will always take concert tickets as a gift, but honestly, that's still a gift of time because Russ is my concert buddy. So really, he's giving me a date night with him and a couple of thousand other people that show up to the concert. But in our day to day life, what matters to me most is when he really helps lighten my load. And one of the best things we ever did was we sat down together to go through everything that was on my plate and figure out what he can help me with. And food shopping was the first thing that came off my list. So now food shopping is his thing. And every single week when he does it, I still feel so grateful because it's one less thing that I have to carry. And that's what this is really about. Not perfection, not big grand gestures, but small intentional ways to stay connected and really just support each other through this season of life. The sixth thing that I would want to say to you is your health matters more than you think. Working moms, sometimes we're running on fumes and maybe coffee and stress, a little sleep, and the constant multitasking. And for a while, we convince ourselves that we're fine, but your body cannot be an afterthought. And I learned this the hard way. Your energy matters, your hormones matter, your mental health matters. And I recently shared how hard last year was for me. And it was a huge wake up call in this area because when your health starts to slip, everything just feels so much harder. So I just want to bring it back to the basics. Eat real food, drink water, move your body, get outside. I can't stress that enough. Just the sun and the fresh air and nature is so good for you. Unless you have allergies, then maybe you get a side pass on this, but outside can do wonders for your soul. And go to bed earlier. Make sure you're getting your sleep. And it's the simple things, but they matter more than we give them a lot of credit for. And also, listen to your body and stay on top of your checkups, your annual physical, your mammogram. And if you're overdue, please, please, please book it. Like, pause this podcast right now and make the call. And your pap smear, if you haven't gotten that done, book it. And if you're of the age, a colonoscopy too. I've had it done twice. I know it's not the most pleasurable experience, but you don't even know what's happening. You do have to drink the drink beforehand and do the whole clean out, but I promise you, it's not as bad as you think. Colon cancer actually runs on both sides of my family. So it's not something I'm messing around with because this isn't about fear. It's about taking care of yourself and catching anything before it becomes a bigger issue. And I've seen that happen too many times recently. So please make sure you're booking those appointments. And here's something else that I've unfortunately had to learn the hard way. If you work at a desk all day, you have to move your body more. Please don't just sit all day. Get up, walk around, stretch, especially if you work from home, because I know sometimes you could just get stuck at your desk. And if you can, get a standing desk so you have the option to stand, because I'm going to be honest, my legs are really paying the price right now. I'm going to have to get my veins treated in 2 weeks, and I'm totally not looking forward to it. But it's from sitting too much. And it's gotten to the point where it actually hurts to sit. By lunchtime, I'm sitting on the edge of my seat because it's so uncomfortable. And you've probably heard this before. Sitting is the new smoking. It's so unhealthy for you. So make movement a priority, even during your workday. And one more thing, I know I keep rambling at this point, but if you're able to, take a mental health day when you need it. When the kids are in school or in camp or in daycare, and you can have that time to yourself. Just take it, rest, reset. And especially the summer's coming along. If you're a beach mama and you live near a beach, just go to the beach by yourself or with your partner. That's a little tradition Russ and I started doing the past couple of years is the last week of school, we take a day off and we go to the beach by ourselves without the kids. And it is absolutely fabulous. And it also counts as a date day and you're connecting with your partner. So you're hitting two of these birds with one stone, even though I hate that saying, but you get what I'm saying. But when you take care of your body, you feel so much better. And when your body feels better, you have more patience, you have more presence, you have more capacity, which leads me to number 7. Your kids need a peaceful mom more than a perfect one. And this might be, honestly, the most important lesson of all. Your kids are not going to remember the perfectly themed snacks, the spotless kitchen, the Instagram-worthy birthday parties, although I do make it a point to show my kids the pictures of the theme parties that I used to throw them when they were little in my perfectionist days, because I really did do a good job, but they barely remember them. So I'm just telling you right now, your kids aren't going to remember. You totally do it for yourself. But what they are going to remember is how you felt. Were you always rushed? Were you always stressed, always distracted? Or did you laugh together? Did you sit and listen to their stories? Did you create small moments of connection? Because peace in your nervous systems becomes peace in theirs. And think about it vice versa. When you know your kids are in distress, it causes you distress. When your kids are upset, you feel that as your mom. So when you're upset, they're going to feel that as your kids. So I'm telling you, your peace becomes their peace. And that matters so much more than perfection. And I'm going to be honest, I've gotten to the point where my kids call me out on it. If I'm distracted, if I'm on my phone, when my mind is somewhere else and I should be fully present, they call me out on that, which I love that they do it because sometimes we all need that reset. And a quick side note, because I just mentioned phones, when you do decide it's time to give your kids phones, set clear boundaries from the start. Don't let them have access all the time at home. Have times during the day where they don't have access to it, where you're putting it in a bin or away from them, because it's so easy for them to get pulled in and become attached so quickly. Trust me, I have a lot of lessons learned on this. I'm going to do a whole full podcast episode on this one and a couple of other things because as Ashley is getting ready to graduate high school, cue the tears. The next couple of weeks are going to be rough for this mama. There is just so much reflecting I'm doing, and there's so many things that I don't say I regret, but that I wish that I would have done a little bit differently. But for now, just know this. You don't have to do everything perfect to create a beautiful childhood for your kids. You just need to be present enough to be in it with them. The eighth thing I would say, even though I think I just covered two with the last one, is money clarity changes everything. Money stress is one of the most common things that I hear from working moms, not because families are irresponsible, but because no one really taught our generation how to talk about money openly. So a lot of us avoid it. You don't look at the numbers. You don't have clear conversations. You just kind of hope everything works itself out. But what that creates is a lot of stress and anxiety when it comes to money. But clarity, it creates confidence. Look at your numbers. Know how much is coming in every month and how much is going out every month. Track your spending, automate your savings, make a plan. And this part is so important. Get on the same page with your partner. Have the conversations, not just about today, but about where you're going. Talk about paying off debt, saving for a home or your next move, setting up retirement accounts, planning for your kids' colleges. That is kicking us in the butt right now. We thought we planned well, but colleges can be seriously expensive if you don't plan right. So if you haven't started a college account yet, I highly recommend it. Again, I'm doing a whole episode on how to plan for college and all of that. But when you get clear on your money, when you're having those conversations, you become aligned. And when you're aligned with your partner, there's so much more peace. You're not guessing, you're not avoiding, you're not silently worrying. You're moving forward together with a common goal. And financial awareness, it doesn't make life perfect, but it gives you options. And those options are what's going to create your financial freedom. And the last thing I want to say is, and I really want you to hear this, you are allowed to want more rest, more balance, more income, more partnership, more joy, more time with your family, more of whatever it is that lights you up. And wanting more doesn't mean that you're ungrateful for what you have. It doesn't take away from the love you have for your family. It doesn't take away from your appreciation for the life that you have now. It just means that you're evolving because as you grow, as your kids grow, as your life changes, what you need and what you want is allowed to change too. It would be weird if it stayed the same because you're not the same person you were before you got married. You're not the same person you were before you had your first kid or your second kid or your third kid or when your kids were babies. You're not meant to stay the same forever. You are allowed to design a life that feels aligned to the person that you are now instead of trying to survive the one that you fell into. You're allowed to grow into a new version of yourself and want different things in different seasons. And if we're really sitting across from each other right now, I'd probably pause for a second, lean in just a little closer and say this. You are doing so much better than you think you are. You are carrying more than people see, and you don't need to keep proving your worth through exhaustion. You are already worthy. And most importantly, and I say this all the time, give yourself grace. And I want to leave you with this. Instead of adding something to your life this week, I want you to release something. One expectation, one mental tab, one I should do this. And I want you to ask yourself, what would make my life feel a little lighter right now? Then take one step toward that. 3 years ago, when I started this podcast, I really just hoped that I'd help a few moms feel a little less alone like I was. But what happened over these past 3 years has been so much bigger than that. This podcast has introduced me to hundreds of incredible women around the world in over 150 countries, which just blows my mind sometimes. Women who are strong, resilient, thoughtful, and just so deeply committed to their families. And if there is one thing that I know for sure after 3 years of these conversations, it's this, that working moms are some of the most capable, powerful, and heart-centered women in the world. And you're not behind, you're not failing, you're not selfish, you are not alone, you are becoming. And I'm so grateful that you choose to spend a little bit of your time here with me each week because I know that is the biggest commodity us working moms have is our time. It truly means so much more to me than you know. And I have one small favor to ask. If you haven't already rated the show, I would be so grateful if you took a minute, scroll down, and just hit those 5 stars for the show. My dream is really for the show to grow and reach as many moms as possible. And the best way to make that happen is through your ratings and by sharing it with your mom friends. Sending you so much love and light until next time on Mom Wife Career Life with Carrie Pat. Before you go, if you found this podcast helpful, I would be so grateful if you would take a minute, go on over to iTunes and leave me a review. If you have other stressed out mamas in your life that you feel this podcast could help, take a screenshot of this episode, post it on your Instagram stories and tag me, and let them know that they are not alone and they can create balance in their life too. If there's a topic you'd like me to cover or you just want to connect, DM me on Instagram at mom.wife.career.life. Or come on over and hang out in our free Facebook community, Work-Life Balance for Working Moms. Sending you so much love and light until next time on Mom Wife Career Life with Carrie Pat.